We are going to be learning about something new in maths in this video, and the topic or the objective that we are going to be learning about is something called decimals. So we're learning about decimals in this video. When I look at this number that's been given to me, 91,342, I know that the digit 2 is in the ones column. I know that the digit 4 is in the tens column. I know that the digit 3 is in the hundreds column. I know that the digit 1 is in the thousands column. And I know that the digit 9 is in the 10,000s column. Now, we have learned about this place value already this year, and now with decimals we are going to learn about a new place value that goes on this side, on the right hand side of the number. Now we know in the ones column and all these other columns that these are whole numbers, right? We have two whole ones in the ones column. Earlier on in this year, we have already learned about some numbers that are not whole numbers, that are less than a whole number. For example, we've already learned about fractions. If I divide this whole into 4 parts and I shade one part, then I know I have one out of the 4 parts. I do not have a whole, I only have a part. 1 out of the 4 is what I have. So we've already learned about numbers that are less than wholes or less than one whole, and those are fractions. The other numbers that we are going to learn about that are less than whole numbers are called decimals. Now, after my ones, I put a dot here, and that's called a decimal point. Whenever you see a decimal point, you know that anything that is on this side of the decimal point is less than 0. And after my decimal point, for example, I'm going to put a 7. Now, this new place value place that I've created after the decimal point has a very special name. They are called tenths. So this 7 is in the tenths place, and that's the first new decimal place we're going to learn about, the tenths place. So if I had to ask you what place is the 7 in this number, you would tell me that it's in the tenths place. Now, if I give you a more simple decimal, for example, 0.2, I know that this 0 is in the ones place, and I see the point, so I know that this 2 is in the tenths place. Now, I told you that there are 2 sets of numbers that we can use to show when numbers are less than 0. We have fractions and we have decimals. So this is my decimal, 0.2. But I can also show this decimal in a fraction, because remember, decimals and fractions are both less than 0. So if I wanted to take this decimal 0.2 and I want to make it a fraction, I look at my decimal place. I have 2 in the tenths place. So that means my denominator is going to be 10, because 2 is in the tenths place. Then I just take my number that's in the tenths place, 2, and I put it on top. So 0.2 is the same as 2 over 10. They both have the same value, and they are both less than 0. Remember our rule with fractions, we always have to simplify fractions. So I can't leave my 2 over 10 just like that. I simplify it again, and I ask myself, what number goes inside 2 and inside 10? I know that the number 2 goes inside 2 one time. 2 goes in one side. And the number 2 goes inside 10, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 5 times. 1 over 5. So 0.2 is the same as 2 over 10, but I simplified it. It's the same as 1 over 5. Right, let's do another example. If I have 0.3, for example. Again, I put my place values on top. 0 is in the ones column. I know that because I can see my decimal point here. My decimal point is always before the ones column. That means after the decimal point, I have my tenths. If I wanted to write this as a decimal, I see, okay, 3 is in the tenths column, so my denominator is going to be 10. And then I just take my number in the tenths column 3 and I put it on top, 3 over 10. I can't simplify that anymore, so that's my answer. So in this introduction, we've just learned about tenths, which is this new decimal place right after the decimal point, tenths. We know that decimals and fractions are both numbers that are less than 0 or less than 1 whole. And so when I have a decimal, I can change it to a fraction and the other way as well. For example, if I have 9 over 10 and they tell me I need to write 9 over 10 as a decimal, I can see 10, so that means I'm going to have numbers up until the tenths place. So there's my ones, there's my decimal, there's my tenths. Take my numerator, I put it in the tenths place, and I can't just say nothing 0.9, so I put a 0 in the ones column. So 9 over 10 is the same as 0.9. So we can go both ways. We can take our decimal, it's in the tenths place, so my denominator is 10, put my number in the tenths place on top, or I can be given a fraction and I need to change it to a decimal. I see I have 10 as my denominator. I know I'm going to have numbers up until the tenths place then, 0 to hold the value 0.9. If you understand this clearly, then try this activity now in your online journals. Number 1 says for each of these numbers, what digit is in the tenths place? So you just need to write what digit is in the tenths place for number A, B, and C. And number 2, write these decimals as fractions. Remember to simplify. 0.1, you need to change it to a decimal just like we've done here. And remember to simplify your fraction if you can. If you don't understand the video, please watch it again.